Hi, welcome back to this weird experiment where I talk into a microphone after realizing I've been laying in bed for an hour again, thinking about something. And yeah, it's probably not early this morning anymore. This time I had a long night's sleep and woke up with some thoughts which are quite interesting to me. I remember having some weird dreams, and then when I woke up I did this monologue thing again, but this time I was another person. So I was talking as Gabor Maté. If you don't know him, he's a psychiatrist working with people with psychological problems for decades. I think he's in his 80s now. And in the last, 30 years, he realized certain things especially about trauma, and how much our lives are led by trauma. He's been working a lot with people with addictions, and has probably a little bit different view than most on these topics. Well, I've been awake for a while, but I still feel like I just got up. These are the first words I'm speaking today. And yeah, I might need a little bit more time to think. So one of the things he often says when it comes to addiction is not to ask why the addiction, but why the pain. Because under every addiction there's some pain we are trying to numb or get rid of, or distract ourselves from. And so fighting an addiction is like never working. It might work for a while. Often when we manage to get rid of an addiction, we find another one. So when I woke up, or like this last, hour, I was somehow imagining being that person, and I don't remember consciously thinking of that, like deciding that's what I'm doing now. I'm thinking I'm gonna talk about these topics to someone. I just found myself in that again, and it was like, I was Gabor, and I was talking to a podcast host. And this other person was saying something like, well, we all have problems and challenges when we are young, and he didn't get an addiction. Like, he's not addicted to any substance, he's doing well. Like, so when I have this conversation in my head, there's not really anybody else talking. It's more like I have a feeling this is what someone else thinks, or it's this person's opinion, and then that's what I'm speaking to. So that person's opinion was something like, you just have to work through it, you know, work hard enough, or be smart and do your work, and then you're gonna be fine. So it had like a feeling of people that turn out to not do well in life, like financially or socially, like not really having a strong friend group, or not finding a good job, and ending up with substance addictions or other addictions. They could have just worked harder or better with their challenges early in life, and then that would be fine. And so I asked him, like, what... It's still a little bit weird for me to talk about this, to imagine that I'm talking to an imaginary person that I don't even know what it is, and I'm literally asking him questions. So I asked him what was a challenge in his childhood, and he was like, well, I didn't do well at school. And I said, okay, so how did that feel? And he said, oh, I felt embarrassed about it. And then I said, okay, who did you go to with this problem, with this challenge? And he said, well, I went to my dad. And so I asked, what did your dad say? And he said, well, if you're doing the best you can, and that's okay. Sometimes you have bad grades, and we can try to improve them. So what I heard there was that someone had a challenge in their childhood, and when they went to their trusted person, like in his case their dad, most of the time it's our parents, for some people it's different caretakers, but when he went there, he found acceptance and support. Like, yeah, his dad said, that's okay, you don't have to feel bad about it, and we can try to improve it together. Like, in the end, of course, we all have to deal with our challenges ourselves, but we can be supported, and we can be seen in our challenge, and yeah, I guess seen is the best way in this case to describe it. And so in my role as Gabor, I said, well, see the people that I work with, that end up with addictions and end up with hard life situations, they often tell different stories. For example, someone would come home with bad grades, and they have an alcoholic parent, and they beat them to a pulp for those bad grades. So they get a very different message, while you get the message, well, sometimes there's struggles, but I can do something about it and I have support. There's other people, they have struggles, and the people that should probably help them, support them, punish them, which gives them the message that they should feel bad about it and ashamed and guilty. Or another example I had was that someone gets bullied at school and they come home and say that to their parents. And in this example, again, the dad said, like, well, you have to stand up for yourself. Next time you just hit back. Like, don't let other people run over you. And if this is in a situation where they can't do that, where they're just overpowered by other people, they also get a message of like, yeah, you're on your own. You just gotta fight back, and if you're too weak, then I guess nothing you can do. So those are always, we can find ourselves in, like, it could be addictions, it doesn't have to be, but it could also be just in a mindset of like, well, I can't achieve anything, like, I'm too weak, I'm not smart enough, like all these kind of mindsets. And I believe, and also experience that in my life, that how we see the world, and especially how we see ourselves, how capable we see ourselves, does change how we show up and how others perceive us. And yeah, how capable we end up being. So I think, like, this is how far this went. This is basically when I picked up the microphone, I was like, okay, I'm gonna record this. So what this makes me think now is that something I like, a topic I've been thinking about more often, which is like willpower. And this notion of like, you just gotta work hard enough, you gotta try, you really have to want it, and don't let yourself down, and these things. And what we see now, at least what I hear from people like Gabor Maté, is that there's really no way to willpower yourself out of an addiction, for example, or to willpower yourself to be more confident. There's, I guess, certain exercises like what is it called? Like, basically pep talks to yourself. Like, maybe you heard of that. To just go to the mirror and say like, I can do this, or I'm smart, or I'm gonna be rich, or whatever. So I think these things work, and in my own experience, it's there can be like this this belief, this self-image and image of the world, I think runs really deep in the unconscious, in the subconscious. And so there can be an unconscious, how do we call this? I can't think of a word right now. Oh, I hate that. There can be, I found it, the word with intention. There can be a conscious intention to say like, okay, I'm going to tell myself every morning, you can do this, and then I'm going to get better at that thing I want to do. But then there can be unconscious patterns that kick in, which for me, for example, would be like a depressive episode. And so maybe yesterday I told myself, yeah, I'm going to do this every morning, and this morning I get up, and well, if I even get up, like there's no motivation, no drive to do anything, so also won't do that thing. So then there's a question like, how can I get willpower and motivation when there is no base motivation, when I don't see like a path for improvement, let's say. So what I'm thinking about again is this: when I learned as a child through these examples that I said, that when I have a problem, there's nobody to support me. I have to try on my own, and if I try, I fail. Like, I try to fight back the bullies, but there is no way, because they're more and stronger than me. Or I try to get better grades, but it just doesn't work. I try to practice, but I don't even get the exercises. And everybody in school seems to be learning faster than me, so the teacher can't keep up, and my parents aren't like supporting me and trying to help me. Then that's a message I get, like subconsciously. It's like, whatever I try, it's not working anyway. And yeah, I think on one level we all make similar experiences. I think we're all suffering. Even the billionaire thinks he needs more money because there's someone who has 10 billion and they have only 3. And yeah, and I strongly believe we're all suffering in our own way, and I don't think we can compare suffering. And at the same time, it seems like there's like very different signals we can get when we are very young, like as children growing up. I'm thinking of that sentence that I think Gabor Maté says too often. It's like, trauma is not what happens to us, it's our response to what happens. So again, I can have a very challenging situation, and if I get the support and understanding and being seen, someone says like, wow, okay, this was very difficult, I see that, like this would be difficult for me, and you can express your emotions, and now I'm here to support you. This is someone's learning something very different as someone who has the same challenging situation. And they might be like shamed and ridiculed for their emotion or for expressing their emotion, being like, hey, don't cry, this is not a reason to cry, or men don't cry, or like, don't be angry, you're not supposed to be angry, you're supposed to be nice, whatever it is, like not being able to feel and express our emotions. And then I think in that same act or reaction by others, that's giving us the impression that we shouldn't feel like that this really hard, challenging, hurtful thing that happened is not supposed to be painful. Like, we are supposed to be able to deal with that, and then we're supposed to do that on our own, like without support. So if two people are having the same experience, it can be very traumatic for one person, and maybe less traumatic, or even not traumatic at all. But on the other hand, like, again, they learn like, wow, okay, there can be challenges, but I can express my emotions, their support, I can deal with that because I have that support. We can learn to see life in a very different way, right? Where challenges are not scary in itself. Maybe we can see the growth that happens from these challenges, and then we're really eager to confront them. While on the other hand, with the other experience, we are scared of challenges I'm saying that wrong. Just by challenges in general, and we try to avoid them, which obviously doesn't work. Like, there's always challenges in life. But so we're afraid, and when they come up, then we don't know how to deal with them. We feel alone. We feel like we're not strong enough to deal with them. So I think what my brain, or whatever this is that happens when I have these conversations / monologues, is that my brain is trying to tell me that this is, I guess this is what trauma is. This will be some examples, which is not, like, I'm not saying that to take away blame and to put it on someone else. I think that the question of blame is not helping at all. In general, I don't think blaming, even if someone does something very horrible, like blaming, saying they are to blame for that, doesn't really help, because I think even people who do something very horrible do that because of the same mindset. Maybe someone told them it's you against the world, basically. So they live that out, and they become like a psychopath and a tyrant, or whatever. So what I don't want to do, or the impression I want to get, is to say like, well, okay, I'm not to blame for how I am now, for my addictions and for my tempers and for my avoidance and whatever it is, but I can blame it on my parents because they handled it wrong when I was a kid. And yes, they did handle it in maybe not the best way. But they again did their best, which mine was not good at all. But they didn't, like, they also did it because that's what they learned. They might believe that it's you against the world, you always have to fight and fight back, and there's no support, so that's what they teach you. Because they had the same experiences when they were a child, and it goes on. That's what we call it, generational trauma. And now we can try to find the source, whoever started that, if there's one person starting it, and can blame them, but that still doesn't change anything. So I think it's important to see that it's not our own fault, that being addicted to something is not my fault. There's a reason, like Gabor said, like, don't ask why the addiction, but why the pain. What's the underlying pain? What emotion am I not allowed to feel that I have to suppress or distract myself from with my addiction? Or why am I not getting anywhere in life? Why am I not getting the things or achieving the things that I want to? Why am I giving up so easily? Like, I think it's important to see that it's not because I don't have enough willpower, because I'm not strong enough, not smart enough. I don't think that's the case. And at the same time, it's important to not say, well, it's my parents' fault, so I don't know, what are they supposed to do? to just, I don't know, pay reparations, and then we have some money and some, I don't know, whatever, to live with until they die, and then we're in the same situation again. So I think, yes, we can take the blame away from us, but we don't have to put it on anybody else. Like, I think with the blame, there always comes shame and guilt, and I believe those are not helpful at all. Which also doesn't mean that we should fight them, because when they're there. So we have to work with them. And in my experience, what helped me the most was later in life, like in my 20s, meeting people, interacting with people that basically showed that to me, that there is no reason for the shame and the guilt, that basically what some people might learn early in their life from their caregivers, I think we can learn later. It's not that easy. Might take a longer time, and there might be relapses, but I definitely learned that a lot, and I'm still learning. Maybe that's why I'm talking about it now. That when other people give us exactly that, what we missed earlier, to be seen, to be allowed to feel and express emotions, and to be supported, I think that's probably the most valuable thing that I experienced, I'm still experiencing, and I feel like this is a big part of what therapy is for many people, if there's a good therapist who understands that. where their job is not just to listen to you and give you tools to better your life, but rather to really listen and see you. And it's like, oh wow, okay, you experienced something that was really hard. Like this question that Gabor Maté often asks. So when you had this hard, challenging experience, who did you go to? And I heard him say that in one podcast, and the person said no one. So I said, like, the trauma is not so much that this happened to you. Of course, again, that it was something bad, something hurtful. Like, yes, that happened, but the trauma is not that that's happened, but that you didn't feel like you can trust your own parents or anybody else that's close to you to talk about this. And so now having someone, so that could be a therapist, or any kind of counselor. It could be friends, somebody where we can tell a story and say, like, oh, this happened, this was very challenging, and they don't say, like, they care about it, they really listen, they say, they see you, they don't have to say that. But we feel that if someone really sees us and gets that was challenging, and that brought about emotions that we might have been told that we shouldn't feel and shouldn't express, and they're okay with that. So someone that we feel comfortable crying in front of, or being angry in front of, and they know it's not against them, it's something piling up inside of us, and then they're there to support. And that can be in many different ways. I mean, just this, like, sitting with someone and being there and allowing them to express, I think is a big support already. And then, for example, offering to do that in the future, to say, like, hey, I hear you, I hear that sometimes this situation is challenging for you, or there's episodes where this sadness comes up, or this depression. Like, you can call me, you can message me, send me a voice message when you feel like that, and yeah, I get back to you. So that can be a kind of support. Sometimes it can be something more practical, being like, hey, I see, like, this is a challenging situation for you, maybe I can come with you. Maybe we can practice, we can have a conversation where I say this challenging thing to you, and you can practice dealing with that, when usually you always freeze, or you're trying to, or you get angry. We can do that. So that's just some ideas off the top of my head. But definitely this is what helped me the most. Changing my view, not only intellectually or on a conscious level, but on a subconscious, where I sometimes find myself in situations where I know I would feel like helpless and give up immediately, and now I find myself being able to deal with it. Yeah, I think that's all for today. I hope the quality is somewhat okay. I have a little bit different setup on the microphone today, and I think my voice is still tired. But yeah, I hope there's been something that helps you today. Maybe reframe your view on how others perceive the world, because maybe some of you listening had the experience that they learned very early in life how to deal with challenges in a healthy way, and maybe for them it's hard to understand why other people have such a hard time and fall into addictions and other like patterns, harmful patterns, and self-destructive patterns, and yeah, maybe this helps you. And if you're more like me and always struggled with these things, maybe this view that might not be 100% correct, but it's something that helped me a lot. So maybe it's helping you too, reframing some things. Maybe also motivates or isn't a little, I don't want to say push, but it's just not finding a word again. A little motivation to seek out maybe also professional help, therapy or something, if that feels right to you. And with that, I say goodbye again. Until next time, where we find out the fuck is this. I love you all very much. Take care. Bye.